Hope you've got a strong stomach, love. This way. It's in there.
Keep an eye on that lot. We don't want to build up. We don't want any more dead bodies, do we, Sarge?
So how often do you get on here?
We were last here 6 months ago.
And if the body had been there then, you would have seen it?
It wasn't there.
Who else comes here, mate?
Traffic signal engineers, if something needs doing. Don't know when they came last. But they wouldn't have needed to go where the body's lying.
Anyone else?
Not officially. Well, we get called if there's a build-up of litter, but otherwise we leave it to grow wild and just have a trim back every 6 months or so. It's like a little nature reserve.
That's why the pathologist reckons there's not much of the body left. Foxes. Or rats.
Not a pretty sight, just after lunch.
It doesn't look like a person anymore, Sarge. It's just a bundle of rags.
Yeah, poor bloke. Is it a bloke?
It looks like men's clothes, but it's hard to tell. Looks like he's been there a good few months.
What a place to die. Thousands of people must have gone by not knowing he was here. Sad, really.
Well, maybe he didn't die here. He could have been murdered somewhere else and then dumped here.
They're saying it's murder?
No, they're not saying anything yet.
Right.
Bob, come in. Just got the pathology notes.
Still saying it's not murder?
No visible injuries or damage to the skull to suggest a violent death. Although we're awaiting toxicology reports. Male, early to mid-50s, 5'10", average build, grey and dark brown hair. No facial features, fingerprints, scars or tattoos surviving. Dental chart available for comparison. His clothing and the state of his shoes suggest he may have been homeless. Pockets contained a pair of glasses in a case, a watch circa 1960s, and £2.37 in change. So he wasn't mugged.
Any idea on him?
It doesn't say so.
We found an empty Scotch bottle lying nearby.
Just an old tramp then, isn't it?
Not so much of the old. Early to mid-50s. It's not old.
You tell him, Bob.
Pardon me. Middle-aged tramp then. Still a tramp.
Makes sense, though, doesn't it? Some old wino finds his way onto the roundabout to drink his whiskey in peace.
6 months ago, probably died of hypothermia.
Or liver failure.
Yeah, well, whatever. There's nothing here to suggest murder.
It's just an old tramp. They turn up in all sorts of places, don't they? Just like shopping trolleys.
Show some respect. We're talking about a human being here.
Well, as you're so sure, Mickey, you can find out who he is. Tie up the loose ends. I can't spare anybody else.
Cath, I've got that like meat stab in the tube station assault going on at the moment.
You'll have plenty of time for this, then. The rest of us have got some big cases on.
The devil makes work for idle hands, Mickey. Just keep an eye on the pathologist for a cause of death and find an ID.
Right, a dead tramp. Who cares who he is?
Gov, I wondered, I was just wondering what he was doing on the roundabout.
Well, he was plastered.
Yeah, but it didn't look as if he'd gone there for a kip. No bedding, no covers. It was as if he'd just collapsed into the bushes.
So you think there's something suspicious?
Well, I think he deserves a better look than Mickey Webb's prepared to give it.
Well, Mr. Webb will find out what he can. Until I've me to answer to.
Yeah, of course.
It's not really your kind of copper, is he?
He seems perfectly competent.
It's very generous of you.
Well, it wouldn't kill him to tuck his shirt in, would it?
Thinks he looks cool, Bob. It's a different generation. You hit a raw nerve with the word old. What's that about? You feeling your age?
I just get fed up with this attitude that everyone over 50 should be put down.
All right to grass. It's like the job, isn't it? So how long have you got to go?
2 years. 53 now.
How long have you been in?
28. Don't know where it's all gone.
So you were a copper when Mickey was still a baby. Well, I've done 26 years now, and I'm already fretting about retirement, so I know how you feel. Have you any idea what you're going to do? Probably the best way. Just forget about it and get on with the last 2 years.
What, until they cast you into oblivion?
Well, it's not as bad as that. I mean, you're better off than a lot of people. Look at the old bloke on the roundabout.
Who knows? Could be a former commissioner.
Yeah, maybe. He certainly wouldn't be missed.
OK. I've got to go anyway. OK, mate. All right, catch you later. Bye. Right, Sarge.
I wondered where you were going to start with identifying this body.
I suppose I'll go back to the pathologist, see what else he can say about his description.
Well, they're not going to give you any more than you've already got in the report, are they?
Well, perhaps I'll ask them to do a face reconstruction then. They've got computer programs to do them now. Computer?
Well, they're not going to go to the trouble and expense unless they've got a very good reason. Why don't you try a bit of old-fashioned detective work?
I'm not an old-fashioned detective.
The report said that they found a glasses case with the man. Sometimes they've got the name of the optician inside.
Is it? I wouldn't know that. Stewart 2020.
What is it with you? What's this attitude? You couldn't care less about this body, could you?
Of course I could, Sarge. I've been told to find out who it is. It's just not top of my priorities, that's all. I've got loads of other cases going on at the moment. Crimes with living people. Too many to get worked up about some wino who's had a skinful and popped his clogs.
No, you don't know for sure that he is a wino. You know nothing about him.
Look, we all agreed earlier on that he was just some geezer who'd come...
No! You cannot just dismiss him. Like I said, we're dealing with a human being here.
Looks like I used to be before a day in court.
You were never that bad. You didn't spill so much.
Lively in here tonight.
Yeah, Nick's having a birthday.
Yeah, 26 today.
He won't reach 27 if he keeps on drinking like that.
Ah, you'll be all right. I used to be like that. I haven't always been this old, you know. I had my moments.
He did, you know. He had his moments.
Yeah, I'm sure you did, Sarge. I'm just trying to imagine them.
Yeah. What are you having?
No, you're right, Sarge. I'll let the birthday boy get me one.
Cass?
A vodka and coke, please. So how are you getting on with that body? They said it wasn't murder.
No, it looks like natural causes.
What was he doing on the roundabout?
Perhaps he felt safe there, out of harm's way. What a way to go, though, eh? All on your own. No one giving a damn.
Or maybe there is. There might be a family waiting for him.
Well, that's why the least we can do is find out who he was. Certainly deserves more respect than Mickey Webb's given him.
Well, you know Mickey's type. He hasn't got time to show a human side.
Yeah, well, there's too many like that in the job these days. I think once you're over 50, you've had it. You're a waste of space. Hey, Terry! Come on, you've forgotten us down here, or what? Mickey! Did you get any more of the glasses case? Was there an optician's name in it?
Yes, Sarge. No Rettles exist. They went out of business 10 years ago.
Oh, right. What about clothing? Check the labels?
Yeah, nothing.
Oh, I'll keep trying. What about asking at the houses near the roundabout?
Kerry's there at the moment. Sarge, can you stop nagging me about this? I mean, what is it with this body? Do you know something about it that I don't? Something that makes it even slightly interesting?
I don't know anything at all. That's the whole point.
Well, if you're that interested, please feel free to join in, all right? I don't mind. I've got plenty of other stuff I can be doing.
Sarge, just thought I'd let you know I've checked out the houses that back onto the roundabout in case anybody saw our man going onto it. I thought he might have been a regular visitor, but nothing.
Oh, right, Kerry. Cheers, thanks.
And I'm afraid I'm going to have to leave it at that. Mr. Meadows wants me on another case. But hey, you've still got Mickey.
Well, just in case he's wilting under the strain, I've started to work my way through the missing persons list, picking out those of the same age, general description. Can't with a dozen for last year alone.
So have you got a list of possibles?
I've got 5 people I thought I'd visit. Show them the watch and the glasses, describe the clothing.
It's a hell of a long shot, Sarge. I mean, thousands of people go missing every year.
Yeah, I know I haven't got much of a chance, but I've got to give it a try. Someone's got to care about the poor bloke, haven't they?
But you know what I mean, though, Sarge? Why has he got such a bee in his bonnet about a decomposed tramp?
Kerry?
Well, that's what it comes down to. And he must have seen hundreds in his time. What's so special about this one?
Well, I don't know. Maybe he suspects foul play, but he hasn't got enough yet to be able to say so. He's usually pretty canny about these things.
I don't think it's as straightforward as that. I think there's something about this one that's really struck a chord with him.
Yeah, well, maybe. I know he thought it was a pretty awful way to end up. I mean, under that bluff exterior, he's quite...
Yeah, I know that. He's got a problem with Mickey Webb, though.
Who hasn't?
Miss Libby, Sergeant Cryer, I telephoned earlier.
Oh, yes, come in, Sergeant.
Thank you.
Graham was just a friend. We used to meet up for drinks, the occasional meal. One evening, just over a year ago, we arranged to meet at a wine bar. I sat there for nearly 2 hours, but he never showed up. Would you like a cup of tea, by the way?
No, I'm fine, thanks. You're the 5th person I've seen today. I'm awash with tea.
Well, anyway, it was very unlike Graham just not to show up. I couldn't reach him by phone, and when 2 days had gone by with no word, I started to worry.
Any particular reason to worry?
He'd been depressed, you see. Money worries, I think, though he never went into any detail. I called at his flat, but he wasn't there. I left a note for him to contact me. I was worried he may be in some kind of trouble. I heard nothing. And when a month had passed, I reported him missing to the police.
And you never heard anything more?
No. I feel sure something has happened to him.
In your description of Graham, you don't mention whether he wore glasses.
He did. But not all the time. Only for reading. In fact, he had several pairs.
What about a watch?
Yes, he had a watch. Though I couldn't tell you what type. Look, Sergeant Cryer, you haven't said why you're suddenly so interested in Graham. Has he been seen?
Well, actually, I'm trying to establish the identity of a body. Now, the only physical details we have are height, colour of hair, you know, and so on, but so far they match your description of Graham.
I somehow always felt he was dead.
Now, hold on. Don't let's jump to conclusions. There are at least 15 men of that age, that height, reported missing last year in London alone. I've only investigated the first 5 on the list. And the chances of it being Graham's body are incredibly slim.
Yes, of course. But it could be him.
Well, yes, of course, it's possible. But the coroner's going to need much more to accept the identity. Is there anything else you can remember? Did he have any tattoos, scars?
I didn't know him that well.
No, right.
I mean, I really told them everything I could when I first phoned in. Of course I did. The fact is, Graham was somewhat, well, nondescript. What was the cause of death? Was it suicide?
Well, they can't tell that yet. They may never establish that. You see, I'm afraid the body was laying outside for some 6 months or more. Do you think that Graham could have killed himself?
Where was he?
Well, strange to say, he was on a roundabout. You know, Lodge Corner? It's all overgrown. No one knew he was there. We found these with the body. I wonder if they might have been his.
They seem very familiar. I think they could well have been his. But I can't be positive. Oh, poor Quinnan. I've just got a strong feeling this is him.
Excuse me, love. Sergeant Cryer, Sun Hill. Do you know anything about the flat upstairs?
Only that it's empty. We use it for storage now. Why?
Do you remember the man that used to rent it, Graham Dennis Anderson?
Well, there was a bloke living there. Never knew his name, though. He skipped off over a year ago without paying his rent.
Do you remember what he looked like?
Never saw him. Doors round the back, see?
Yeah, I know. Do you have a key? Could I have a look round?
Yeah. OK, hang on.
No luck with the NHS, Sarge. They've got no record of Anderson, nor do any of the doctors or dentists in the area.
Right, cheers. In that case, we better try the private health insurers and check with the Register of Birth, Deaths and Marriages.
Sarge, I thought Mickey Webb's investigating this case.
No, he's too busy making excuses why he shouldn't. Thinks he finds it too dull.
Is that the personal one?
Yeah.
What's it say?
It's from Jane Liddy. She told me she dropped it round. Dated about a year ago. She just wanted him to stay in touch. I think she was a bit worried about him.
Yeah, she had good reason to be.
I think she'd sussed the money problems, but I don't think she knew to what extent.
I mean, look at this. Red gas bill. Inland revenue. That looks like another credit card statement. County Court summons.
Yeah, got a debt collector here.
That'll be the bank going potty over his overdraft.
But none of them for any great amount, are they? Just enough for these people to persist for a while.
Or maybe he didn't have money problems. Maybe he was just a rip-off merchant.
Yeah, you could be right. So what do we check now? Did you say there was a gas bill in there? Well, they had one of those old slot meters in the flat. You don't get a gas bill when you've got a slot meter, do you?
I don't know, I heat electric. It's addressed to him. £342 in arrears.
300 quid for a little place like that? Let's have a look. No, there you have it, you see? Look. It's only the billing address. The supply address is a flat in Hackney. Hello? I'm Sergeant Cryer from Sunhill Police. It's not a problem. I'm just looking for a Graham Dennis Anderson. I believe he has a connection with this property. Maybe he was a previous tenant, or are you subletting from him?
No. He's my husband. I haven't heard from Graham for 2 years. How did you get this address?
Well, we know that he was paying the gas bill here till a year ago, then suddenly he stopped.
I know he did. They came round to cut it off. They're letting me pay it off in installments. But I'll never clear it. Like all the other debts he left me with.
But even after he left you, he was still paying the bills for another year?
Yes. He was good about that. I didn't have a job and he paid the rent and bills and some for myself.
And how do you manage now?
Cleaning work. I'm okay, but I'll never pay off the debts. This is not what I expect when I agree to marry Graham and come here. All I really want to do is save up enough to go back to the Philippines.
How long were you married before he walked out?
8 months. We met in the Philippines. He brought me back to this flat and then went off for 2 weeks.
Do you know where?
Graham was always disappearing. We never spent more than a few days together at any time.
Do you mind me asking why you got married?
I always wanted to live in Europe. Graham was very nice to me when we first met. Well, he was never really nasty to me. He asked me to marry him and come to England. I did want children, but Graham made sure that never happened.
Maria, I'm trying to identify a dead body. So I'm checking any man of the right age and description that's been reported missing. And I just want to rule out Graham.
Who reported him missing to you?
A friend of his, perhaps you know her, Jane Liddy.
I didn't know any of Graham's friends, men or women.
Well, we don't know that it's him, but it would help if you had something of his that would help us to make certain. Like a pair of shoes. We could compare them to the ones that were found by the body. Or a toothbrush. We could do a DNA comparison.
Well, I'd like to help, but there's nothing of Graham's here at all. When he went, he took everything with him. One day I came home and he'd gone. Every trace of him. Like it never existed.
Do you still have your marriage certificate?
He kept it.
A photo of him?
No, I don't even have that.
Yeah, of course, I'll hold on.
Well,
Home Office.
oh,
Yeah, well, if Anderson went to the Philippines, he'd have a passport. So I'm getting them to fax a photo over to me.
good idea. Get a look at him.
Yeah. I've had a look on the computer as well. You wouldn't believe it. Yes, hello? Yes, that's right. Oh, I see. And when was that? Right. OK, thank you very much for your help. Yeah, thank you. Bye. No passport currently available for Graham Anderson. Nor was there 2.5 years ago when he was in the Philippines. Last one expired in 1974. And there aren't any photos that far back.
Right. So he's got a false passport. Sounds as if you've chanced on a dodgy character.
You can say that again. Look at this lot. County court judgments, civil actions, unpaid fines, parking tickets, goes back years.
But no arrests or convictions, so no photographs.
No, but he's also wanted for questioning by the fraud squad. Ran a fraudulent financial consultancy with this David Harraby in Ilford. I think I'll go and see him.
Hang on a minute, Bob. I mean, as interesting as this Anderson bloke is, you've only got the flimsiest of evidence that the dead body is actually him. I mean, all you've got is his girlfriend, what's her name?
Jane Libby.
Jane. Saying that these glasses and watch might be his, but she's not sure. I mean, have you shown them to his wife?
And she didn't recognise them.
Well, there you go, then. If the wife doesn't recognise them...
No, she said the same as Jane. She said he did wear glasses, but not all the time. And she hadn't seen him for at least a year before he disappeared. So, he might be wearing different ones now. Doesn't mean it isn't him.
No, neither does it mean it is.
Yeah, but even if it isn't, this Anderson's in a lot of trouble. He's gone on the run and I want to find out about him. I think there's more to be uncovered.
Look, the only job we've got at the moment is to identify the body, and actually that should be Mickey Webb's job.
Yeah, well, he's not going to put anything to it, is he?
Look, if he's not doing his job, tell the DCI. Get him to give him a boot up the backside. You shouldn't be doing his job for him.
June, I've got interested in this case. Why should I always be locked up in this office or filling in forms?
OK, I mean, I can see you following a scent, but this isn't like you, to be so obsessed.
Oh, I'm not obsessed. Come on. All right, June, I admit, when we found this body, well, I felt something for the bloke, whoever he was. I don't know, same age as me, he's fallen through the net, he's been forgotten. All right, and it affected me a bit. But I think I've uncovered a real case here, for once.
OK. I mean, all I'm saying is keep things in perspective. You know, I know you're thinking about your future.
Look,
and...
June, to me, Mickey Webb epitomises the modern service and everything that's wrong with it. He's slick, he's uncaring, he's never got time to follow a case through. Well, I'm not going to give in to that. I've opened a can of worms here, and I am going to make time to follow it through. This Anderson has let down a lot of people, particularly his wife and friends, and I am not going to do the same thing.
All right, thanks very much.
Excuse me, Dave? Excuse me. Dave Harraby?
Yeah?
Sergeant Cryer, Sun Hill. I'm making inquiries about a Graham Dennis Anderson.
Oh, yeah. He seemed a thoroughly nice chap. Qualifications, letters after his name. All false, of course. He got me at just the right moment, too. I'd just been made redundant. May wait for someone younger and cheaper. Thank you. I've been an accountant for 20 years. Anyway, I met Graham down the job centre. He suggested we set up a financial consultancy. It seemed better than mini-cabbing, so I sunk what was left of my savings into it and...
And you didn't check his credentials? So he was an accomplished liar?
Oh, yeah, completely plausible. And he built up a very good client base. The better we did, the less I wanted to acknowledge the nagging doubts I had.
You were selling financial products?
Yeah, pensions and investments. We were both out on the road most of the time, meeting clients. We used to communicate by mobile phone.
But you didn't check what was going on?
It wasn't particularly clever either. He'd send the client's premium cheque off to the financial institution. They'd issue the paperwork and they'd pass it on. So as far as the client's concerned, that's it. They've got their policy or investment or whatever. But there's a statutory 2-week cooling-off period, during which time you can change your mind, get a full refund. Well, what Graham was doing was telling the companies the client had changed their mind, getting the refund sent back made out to him. Simple.
Well, how did he get found out?
Pension company misspelt the client's name on the policy. When he called to change it, they told him the application had been cancelled and a refund issued. Well, Graham convinced him everything was all right, but when he heard nothing else, the client went to the police. By that time, Graham had vanished.
We found a body on Lodge Corner roundabout. We think it could be Graham's. What's left of the body does match his description, more or less.
No, I shouldn't think it's Graham. No, he's long gone by now with the money. Probably gone abroad on a false passport.
And you were under suspicion too?
Yeah, well, I was his partner. They went over me with a fine-tooth comb. I didn't find anything, of course, but nevertheless, that was my career over. I'll never practice again. Which is why I'm here, herding trolleys.
Better than nothing, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. Company has a very enlightened policy towards the middle-aged.
Anderson's a very complex character. Gave Harraby another address in Enfield, but no one there knew him.
Well, that's fascinating, Bob, but what we're really concerned with is identifying the body. I mean, what evidence have you got that it is Anderson?
Well, Harraby's description of him tallies with the others. We also know that he went on the run, but we don't know how much money he got away with. The fraud squad said he hadn't touched some of the accounts, so if it wasn't much, perhaps he was sleeping rough. And maybe if he felt remorseful, he committed suicide.
Well, that's very sketchy, Bob. I mean, you see, I worry that by spending so much time concentrating on him, we're going to miss out on following up other leads. I mean, Mickey's doing that, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know how interested Mickey is.
He'll be as interested as I tell him to be. He should forget Anderson and turn his attentions elsewhere.
Well, I think Harraby and Anderson could be the same person. Well, the description more or less fits with Jane Liddy's. Harraby might have invented Anderson to commit the fraud, and then had him disappear when it all went pear-shaped.
Well, it's easy to establish. I mean, you just show his photo to Jane Liddy and the wife. But, I mean, why are you doing this when the fraud squad are after him? People are going to think it's odd, you know, you devoting so much time to this bloke.
We have got a dead body, and we have got this mystery man, this fraudster on the run. Or maybe we haven't. Maybe I've just found him. But either way, we are supposed to devote time to it. We are supposed to get to the bottom of it. I just want to do a thorough professional job. Hey, steady, Nick, you'll have a heart attack.
Sarge, I just looked on the duty roster. I'm still down for next Saturday.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, well, I asked you to sign a 410 for me. I got a gig that day.
So you did?
Yeah, well, it's not like you to forget.
Oh, I'm sorry, Nick. I've got a lot on at the moment, but I will sort it.
You know, I promise people, Sarge.
Look.
Sarge, somebody to see you, a Mrs. Anderson.
All right, thanks. I will sort it, Nick.
Don't put yourself out on my account.
Mrs. Anderson, what can I do for you?
I got this letter this morning. It's from Graham.
Posted in Ilford yesterday afternoon. Is this his signature and handwriting?
This is weird. What's he say?
It was posted a year ago, just before he disappeared. It says he's given the letter to a friend and asked that the friend should post it if he ever hears that he's dead.
So he is dead?
Someone thinks he's dead. He might be, might not be. Some of this is very personal. You sure you want me to read it? He says he hopes you accept his apologies for deserting you in the way that he has. Realises that he should never have married you and brought you to England. Hope you can forgive him and rebuild your life. He just had to get away from the mess that he'd made. And he's sorry for all the bad things that he's done. But soon he'll be gone forever. Oh.
What, Sarge?
Well, he says if you go to the Lodge Corner roundabout at Sun Hill, there's something buried for Maria under some paving stones.
Right, where should we start? Shall I move one of these slabs?
Yeah, I'm not sure about this.
Well, by Sarge, this is where he sat.
Yeah, but it's council property. We can't just go digging up paving slabs.
Of course you can. You're the police.
This is a crime scene. We might be disturbing crucial evidence.
No, we won't know until we see what's underneath. Go on, just let me lift this one a little bit.
All right.
Not on there. I'll try lifting the next one.
And we can't lift them all up. We'll be here all day.
This one's been lifted before. Look how it's been shipped off.
We should be in the CID.
You check the serial numbers?
Yeah, all printed over a year ago.
Well, there you go then. Case closed. The body's Anderson's.
And how'd you work that out?
Well, it's obvious, isn't it? Look, he knows he's dying or he intends to commit suicide. So he writes a letter to his missus, gives it to a friend to post when they hear his quote, then goes down to the roundabout, buries the money, lies down, check out by 11.
But why doesn't he just give her the money? Why does she have to wait until he's dead?
It's only £1,000. That's not going to sort our problems out, is it?
More of a gesture, maybe?
Supposing the money wasn't buried last year. Supposing it was only buried a couple of days ago.
What? You're losing me.
Well, if someone had heard that we found the body, perhaps they buried the money and then they wrote to Maria so that we think it was Anderson.
She said it was her husband's signature.
And the man she knew as her husband wrote it, but when? Last year? 2 days ago?
No, I think I'm going to need to lie down.
Who is this so-called friend that posted the letter anyway? Who knew we had a body that we couldn't identify?
Well, apart from Maria, I only told Jane Liddy, Dave Harraby. Mind you, they could have passed it on to anyone, couldn't they? I did tell the woman in the laundrette underneath Anderson's flat she could have passed it on to the landlord. The newspaper reported it, but they only mentioned the location. They didn't say we thought it was Anderson.
So any number of people could have posted that letter according to his instructions. I just don't think it's as complicated as you're trying to make it. I think that body is definitely Anderson.
Sarge, the Public Records Office have called. They've tracked down a birth certificate for Graham Dennis Anderson. He was born on December the 8th, 1947 in Croydon, and he died of pneumonia on October the 23rd, 1958.
Social Services told me that you were here.
Well, I should know. They stuck me in here.
I wanted to ask you a few questions about your son, Graham.
Not in any trouble, is he?
Well, he died 42 years ago.
Oh, yes. That's right.
Do you remember what he died of?
He was only a little lad then.
11. Was it pneumonia?
Was it? Oh, that's right. We never had any more after him. He was the only one. And me, this bag. To keep my valuables with me. They'll be away with anything in here that isn't tied down. That old bloke there had his top set nicked. Yeah, there you go. Now, that's little Graham.
And is that his friend? Can you remember his name? Was it David?
No, I can't remember.
Dave?
No.
Dave Harraby?
No, I don't recognise that name. Mind you, sometimes I get a bit muddled. How old are you?
53.
Oh. What year were you born?
47.
Yeah.
Maria, you'll get your money as soon as this is sorted out.
He's my husband. It's my money.
Well, my knowledge of Philippine law is a bit hazy, but I'd say there's a fair case that you're not married. The name on the certificate's somebody who doesn't exist.
I never saw my marriage certificate. I don't know what name's written on it. How did he do all this anyway?
In the 70s, he obtained a duplicate birth certificate for Graham Anderson, the boy that died. And with that, he could apply for a passport. And from there, build himself a completely false identity. And after that, he could do anything.
Like marrying me.
We'll soon get that sorted, Maria. Here comes Harraby. Well? Maria?
What?
Well, is that him? Is that your husband?
Him? No, he's nothing like him.
I suppose it was too obvious to think it would be Harraby. Someone wanted us to think it was, though. That's why they posted the letter in Ilford.
Yeah.
Miss Liddy, Sergeant Cryer, do you remember? This is PC Rickman. There's been some development on the Graham Anderson case. I wondered if we could have a quick word.
Of course. Come in.
Thank you.
No, I'm sorry, I've never seen him before.
So it definitely isn't Graham Anderson. Even with a beard? Different pair of glasses?
Who is it?
It's David Harraby, his business partner. We were rather hoping he might be one and the same person.
Graham's wife didn't recognise him either.
Graham had a wife?
You didn't know, I'm sorry.
I didn't know he had a business partner either, come to that.
Well, we've been finding out a few surprising things about Graham.
You haven't posted a letter on his behalf in the past day or two? Or been to Lodge Corner roundabout?
No, look, I'm sorry. I'm finding all of this a bit hard to take in. Have you found Graham's body or not?
It isn't Graham Anderson's body. He was buried in Croydon in 1958. As to who it is, or who your friend was, I'm afraid we've got no idea. I'm fed up with this, Cass. We're getting nowhere. I started out feeling sympathetic towards Anderson. Now I'm beginning to hate him.
Well, whoever he is, Can't be all that bad. I mean, he left that money for Maria. Despite what he did, he must have cared for her.
Well, you could take the cynical view that having got away with all that money, £1,000 is a small price to pay to muddy the waters.
Or maybe Mickey was right. It's not worth wasting any more time over it. Well, whoever Graham is, he's buried himself so deep we may never find him.
Mickey Webb is not right. We'll find him. There'll be a way. Perhaps we should go back to the post that we found in the flat. I don't ever see the phone bill, do you?
No, he wasn't that generous. He might have done a gas bill, but he wasn't picking up the calls home.
So if there wasn't a phone in the flat, and Harrowby said that they used to communicate with mobiles, the account was in Anderson's name so that he didn't have to pay, I'll go and check with the mobile phone company, see which one he was with.
Right.
He's getting obsessed, isn't he? He wants to get out a bit more.
Leave him alone. He's interested in the case.
Well, it's good for the old brain cells, I suppose. Stop the Alzheimer's setting in.
He's put more energy into this than you've ever shown.
That is because, Cass, I'm a young man. And I save my energy for it's needed.
Getting somewhere at last. Tracked down Anderson's mobile phone account. They faxed me an itemised call list. Over 200 quid in the red, of course. Last time he used the phone was over a year ago.
You better go with him, Cass. Excitement's probably a bit too much for him. See you later.
This 01737 number keeps reoccurring.
Yeah, it's on here as well.
Yeah, it's not London. Yes, hello. Could you give me your full postal address, please? Yeah. Right. Thank you very much. Private hospital in Surrey.
No record of a Graham Dennis Anderson, or any other Anderson for that matter.
Well, it's just, you see, that I have a mobile phone bill of his and it shows a lot of calls to this number.
Probably calling a friend who's a patient here. Look, have you got the mobile number on the bill?
Yeah.
If he was a patient here, perhaps under another name, might be included in his record. There we are. It's found that number. We've got it for a patient called Alan Liddy.
Liddy? Alan Liddy?
Address in Coulsdon.
Does it show his age?
53.
What was he in here for?
Well, I think I've already compromised patient confidentiality.
Yes, I'm sure, but I am investigating a suspicious death.
Yes, and I'm pleased to help as far as I can, but I really can't tell you anymore. I'm sorry.
Right. OK, as a matter of interest, what treatments do you offer here?
All sorts of things. Take one of our brochures. But an area for which we've been noted in recent years is gender alteration. Sex change operations.
Cass, will you do me a favour? Will you get onto the passport agency? See if they've issued a passport to an Alan Liddy. That's Lima, India, Delta, Delta, Yankee of London.
Lima, India, Delta, Delta, Yankee, Sergeant.
That's right. If they have, can you get them to send a photo over on the fax for me? I'll explain when I get back. And I'm bringing Jane Liddy in, OK? Sorry to keep you waiting, Miss Liddy. Right. Do you mind if I call you Jane? It's an informal interview.
If you wish. I just wonder how long this is going to take.
Oh, not long. I just need to ask you a few questions about Graham Anderson. Do you know Alan Liddy?
He's my brother.
Is that him?
Yes.
It's a lot like you.
People often say that.
Where is he now?
Don't know. States, maybe.
He had a sex change operation about a year ago, just after you reported Graham Anderson missing. Did you know that? He was a man and now he's a woman.
Really?
We know a lot more about Graham Anderson now. We know about his money difficulties. We know how he tricked people and let them down.
I was aware Graham had money problems. I told you that. But he was a good man. I'm sure he never meant to hurt anyone.
Did Graham know Alan?
Yes.
You see, Graham made a lot of phone calls to the clinic where Alan had his sex change. But we know that the phone calls weren't to Alan because the last one was made the day before he was admitted. We also know that Alan was really nervous about the operation and kept phoning the consultant. So that explains the phone calls on Graham's phone.
What's your point?
Well, we think that Graham Anderson and Alan Liddy are one and the same person.
That's ridiculous. Alan was my brother, and Graham was my friend.
Why'd you say was for both of them? Alan's still alive, isn't he, and Graham's missing?
Graham's dead. You found his body on the roundabout.
No, we don't know that for sure.
Of course it's him. He buried some money for his wife there.
How do you know that? I didn't tell you.
Graham told me. All right, I admit that. He did tell me he buried the money, and he asked me to post that letter for him.
Jane, you're very confused. This is Graham Anderson. He died, aged 11, 1958. Are you the other little boy? Was Graham your friend? Jane, you're Alan Liddy. And you had another identity, Graham Anderson, didn't you?
That's nonsense.
Come on, why don't you tell us? There's lots of other ways that we can prove it. Or would you rather talk to Maria or Dave Harraby?
Aye. How's Pop getting on?
Oh, don't start calling him Pop. He's fine. In fact, he solved your case for you.
Yeah?
Yeah, he's interviewing Jane Liddy now, also known as Alan Liddy, also known as Graham Anderson.
I ain't got a clue what you're talking about. Has he identified the body?
Well, no, but it's not Anderson.
Well, he ain't solved my case for me then, has he? He ain't solved any case.
Graham and I were school friends. In fact, he was my only friend. He was better than me at everything. I remember wishing I could be him. I wanted his parents to be my parents. I knew I didn't want to be me. And I thought I wanted to be Graham. When poor Graham died, I thought I could take his place. I thought his parents would adopt me. It became a sort of obsession of mine. And when I was in my 20s, I obtained a copy of his birth certificate and used it to get a passport in his name. I'd become Graham. As Graham, I could be confident and successful, even though it was all constructed on lies. Alan couldn't even get a girlfriend, but Graham could go and buy one in the Philippines. As soon as I got her home, I realised it was a terrible mistake. I mean, she was a nice girl. I did like her, but I think that was when I first started accepting the truth. I didn't want a woman. I wanted to be one. The marriage was never consummated. I feel very guilty about how I treated her.
She was very appreciative of the money.
What hollow gesture was stolen.
The money you stole from your partnership with Dave Harraby.
I feel guilty about him, too.
You used it to pay for your sex change.
And to set myself up in the flat. And to start my life again as Jane. I don't regret that part. I ended up hating myself with Graham. I was a liar and a cheat. As Jane, although I was lonely, I was settled at last.
All right, Sarge?
Is Sergeant Cryer around? Because we've heard that his missing person's got something quite important missing.
What do you mean?
Well, Cath Rickman told us that the woman he's interviewing, she's transsexual.
He, not she. He's not a woman. Just because whatever it is, just because there's bits chopped off doesn't make him a woman, does it, Sarge?
Well, thank you for your expert analysis, Vicky. Why don't you mind your own business?
Well, I wouldn't hold it against him, each to his own, eh?
He hasn't got his own, has he? So you can hold it against him even if you wanted to.
Please.
With great relief, I stopped being Graham. When I got out of the flat in Coulsdon, I left a note for him from Jane, asking where he was. I changed my handwriting, of course. I then reported him missing to the police. That was probably my big mistake.
So when I turned up telling you that we'd found an unidentifiable corpse, you wanted me to believe that it was Graham?
It wasn't planned that way. It just seemed too good an opportunity to miss. Another big mistake. When you told me where the body had been found, I thought I could reinforce the idea that it was Graham. I went there in the middle of the night when all the police were gone and buried my last £1,000. I then sent the letter to Maria, posting it near Harraby's house to throw suspicion on him.
You've got a very devious mind.
I've had years of practice. I've always built layers around myself.
It's a shame you only discovered what you really wanted so late.
And look what I had to do to get it. What's going to happen to me?
To be honest, I'm not sure. I've got to hand you over to the fraud squad. They're after you.
Well, they're after Graham.
No, Jane, they're after you. You have got to take responsibility for what your alter egos have done.
Well, she won't last long in the scrubs. No, in law, he's still a man. I mean, if that's what's on his birth certificate. But these days, the court authorities show a bit of discretion. So if he or she ends up inside, it'll be a woman's prison.
Yeah, she'll still have to be segregated, though, won't she?
Well, she's not going to be happy whatever happens to her, is she?
Yeah. I'm just beginning to wonder if I did the right thing.
What, uncovering the truth? Of course you did.
Yeah, but if it wasn't for me, I mean, she would have just quietly vanished like she wanted to.
And got away with thousands of pounds worth of fraud to her name.
Yeah, but she didn't end up with any of it, did she? No. Perhaps I should have left well alone.
Oh, come on, Bob, you're going soft in your old age. He, she, or whatever is a criminal. And she didn't just steal small amounts from banks and financial institutions. What about the people who thought they'd bought pensions?
Yeah, I know all about that. I still feel sorry for her. I mean, what kind of a life did she have?
Well, what kind of a life have any of them had? I mean, the prison's full of people trying to justify why they've gone bad. Now, we can't get involved in all that. We haven't got the time. That's for the shrinks and social workers. Our job's to get them off the streets.
Really? Is that what we're here for?
Got a result then?
Yeah, sort of.
Well, you caught a wanted criminal. That's a result in my book. All I'm down to do is identify manky old corpse.
You gonna do it?
Yeah, I'm getting onto it.
Good. Never know what you might find.